The Atlanta Braves signed outfielder Alex Verdugo for $1.5 million yesterday. Is this just a depth signing, or is there something more there? Let's talk about it. Yes, welcome on in to Braves Today for Friday, March 21st, your source of news, notes, and updates on your Atlanta Braves. I'm your host, Lindsey Crosby. You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Crosby Baseball. You can follow the show on Twitter, Braves_today. We have a Facebook page and an Instagram as well. And you can find all of my written work, bravestoday.com. That's the Braves Today Substack, as this is both a podcast and a newsletter. We are still pushing for 4,000 subscribers to YouTube by opening day. As of time of recording, we're at 3,924. Within shooting distance, we have a week to get there. Send your friends over to the Braves Today YouTube channel. They not only get every episode of the podcast, they also get the posted media availabilities when we get them of starting pitchers like Chris Sale, Spencer Strider after his spring debut, Alex Anthopoulos when he meets in front of with the media in front of cameras. We post that. So definitely worth it. Again, we're trying to get to 4K by opening day. I want to talk about this signing yesterday of Alex Verdugo because I'm still trying to figure out what to make of it. In case you were under a rock, during the game yesterday, we got a tweet. We didn't get a blue box. There was no blue box for the signing, but the Atlanta Braves signed left-handed outfielder Alex Verdugo to a 1-year, $1.5 million deal and immediately sent him to Gwinnett. Again, in the same sentence. No blue box, just a tweet that they signed him and sent him to AAA. He is going to join Craig Kimbrell and James McCann in preparations for the season, getting ready in minor league camp and in AAA. If and when he makes the majors, it will be a $1.5 million salary, obviously prorated for the time he actually spends in the majors. And there's a lot of thoughts here. My first thought is AA seems to have a plan with some of the money that he saved about going out and grabbing veteran depth now versus needing to do it when the season starts. And it's very clear that AA has been influenced by some of the recent injury issues that Atlanta has faced. And the two things I want to point to is the catching in 2021 and the outfield situation both in 2021 and last year. Not going to go too in-depth on the catching situation in 2021, but if you remember, Atlanta played 7 different catchers in 2021. d'Arnaud and Contreras combined for 100 starts. But Kevin Smith, Stephen Vogt, Alex Jackson, Jonathan Lucroy, they had to go and sign these journeyman catchers on the fly because you had injuries to both guys. And then the outfield situation as well. Atlanta had to rebuild the outfield on the fly in both 21 and 24. Your opening day outfield for the Atlanta Braves in 2021 was Marcell Ozuna in left, Christian Pache in center, Ronald Acuna Jr. in right. And by mid-June, you did not have Pache available anymore, and you were combining Inciarte and Guillermo Heredia in center, and then you lost Ozuna, and you were playing, sometimes you'd have to play both Heredia and Inciarte in the same outfield with Acuna in right. Ihire Adrianza was playing the outfield. Abraham Almonte was playing the outfield. He was the starter in left field for almost like a straight month, like almost every single day for a straight month, with Inciarte and Heredia swapping in and out in center and Acuna in right. And then Orlando Arcia played the outfield in 2021. He played left field. And then you lost Ronald Acuna Jr. And so you traded for Jock Peterson. Jock Peterson was playing right. And then you traded for Adam Duvall and Jorge Soler and Eddie Rosario, who wasn't available at the time. And so you had moments where your outfield was Adam Duvall in left, Jorge Soler in right, and Jock Peterson in center field. The guy who is now exclusively a DH. I don't think he played the field once last year. He may have done it once or twice. I should have learned with that catcher thing about not making absolute assertions in this so far. And it was a nightmare of a outfield rebuild in 21. Last year, very similar. You started off with a Kelenic Duvall platoon in left field with Harris in center and Acuna in right. And then when Acuna went down in late May, you were playing Kelenic, Harris, Duvall across your outfield every day. And then you briefly had to use some stuff, like you had to play Brian Anderson out there a couple times. JP Martinez got a couple starts out there. And then you lost Michael Harris. And it became a Duvall, Kelenic, Laureano outfield. Forrest Wall got some starts in there. And then you signed it. Duvall was just bad. You signed Eddie Rosario, who was also bad, but you were starting Luke Williams out there from time to time. You got Jorge Soler. And it was a nightmare all year. You used, in 2021, it actually, I don't think was as bad. You used 7 different players in left, 6 in center, and 6 in right. Last year, you used 8 in left, 6 in right, and then 4 different guys in center. Both of them were nightmare scenarios. And this idea of we're going to go out and we're going to grab some depth. We're going to sign major league veterans, guys who have done it in the league, to deals and start them off in Gwinnett with the option to bring them up or maybe have to give them an opt-out. I'm sure a lot of these guys have opt-outs in these deals. Either they were XXB free agents and they're on minor league deals like McCann, like Kimbrel. I don't know if Kimbrel qualifies as an XXB because he didn't finish the year on a roster. But either way, you're in a situation where you can, like, some of these guys probably have opt-outs in these deals. Or they're on major league deals. Alex Verdugo is on a major league deal. That was not a minor league pact. That was a major league deal, but he agreed to go to Gwinnett to get ready for the season. And there's questions about what Alex Verdugo can do offensively. He had the worst season of his career last year with the Yankees. I wrote a big long piece over at Braves Today on the newsletter about what you need to do if the goal here is to fix Alex Verdugo. We'll talk about that next, right here on Braves Today. But first, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Chinook Seedery. If you're like me, baseball fan, you love sunflower seeds. These are bigger and better sunflower seeds than anybody else has on the market. What I love, 8 fantastic flavors. These are just absolutely tons of fun. And the best part is you have complete control over how this works, right? You can get the sampler pack, the variety pack. You can try every single flavor of the 8. Original. It's just like a nice balanced mixture of saltiness and sweetness. Can't go wrong with original sunflower seeds. Lemon pepper is Royal shortstop Bobby Witt Jr.'s custom flavor that he designed. Jalapeno ranch, Parmesan and pepper. Do not sleep on the Parmesan and pepper, folks. Cinnamon toast. The kids love the cinnamon toast sunflower seeds. Dill pickle, Hatch chili, smokehouse barbecue. You can order cases of whichever specific one you want. You can build your own pack and you can mix and match what comes in your boxes. And you can use promo code BRAVES for 10% off your order. You also get free shipping on orders over $40 when you use promo code BRAVES. And it does stack with the subscribe and save discount. If you've decided I'm going to do this all of the time. This is going to be my new sunflower seed. I want these to show up at my house every month with a new supply of sunflower seeds, not only can you get 10% off the promo code BRAVES, you can subscribe and save and get an additional 10% off. So, ChinookSeedery.com, promo code BRAVES. That's Chinook Seedery, CHINOK, Seedery.com, promo code BRAVES. Welcome back to Braves Today. Lindsey Crosby talking about the signing of Alex Verdugo and trying to figure out, is this just some sort of depth move, or is there more here that you can unlock offensively with the guy? And the thing to know is he has been a very good hitter in his career .272 average. He has a season, the 2020 season, he hit over 300. And it's not like that was a way out of character fluke. The season before in 2019, he hit 294. The season after in 2021, he hit 289. So he's been a high average guy that had some power, right? His career high in homers is 13. He's done it in 3 of the last 4 years. But a guy that's not striking out a ton, that's drawing enough walks, and can get on base and can score runs for you. But he's also had some issues, right? Last year, he's been declining almost every season. Okay, 308 in 2020, then he hit 289, then he hit 280, then he hit 264 in Boston in 2023. They traded him to the Yankees. He moved from right field to left field. He hit 233 for New York last year. Career low batting average, career low OPS. And he's now pretty much become just a corner outfielder. He hasn't started a game in center field since 2021. And so when you're looking at this, it's okay, what's the value here? Is this just because he's a good defender in the corners? His arm is one of the strongest in all of baseball. He led the American League in outfield assists in 2023, was a Gold Glove finalist. He had 7 assists in left field. He swapped from right to left last year and had 7 outfield assists, and again was a Gold Glove nominee in 2024. Or can you get more out of the bat? And so what I think you need to know about Alex Verdugo is he doesn't strike out a lot. Even last year in that career worst offensive performance, 15% strikeout rate, 88th percentile in baseball. And it's because he doesn't miss a lot. Whiff rate of 15.5%, which is 93rd percentile. So on average, 1 in every 6 swings is he's swinging and missing. And there's a couple aspects that go into that. He doesn't chase a ton, right? Chase rate, 25%, 70th percentile. And when a pitch is in the zone, he makes good contact, like 90.5% zone contact rate. Very good. He rarely misses in the zone. Now, the average MLB hitter is in the low 80s. 82% is the MLB average. So Alex Verdugo is one of the best in baseball at making contact in the zone. But, there's always a but. This dude would not be available a week before opening day if there wasn't a but. There's a couple things in the profile that you have to fix. The first thing is he's very good at making contact in the zone. Yes, he just doesn't swing enough. Okay? His zone swing rate last year was 61%. So when a pitch is in the strike zone, 6 times out of 10, he's swinging. The MLB average is pretty close to 70%. So he is below, he is taking too many pitches in the zone. And we go into more detail on the Substack, but I went and I pulled specifically, what does he do? What does he hit? And you'll remember Tim Hyers, the new Braves hitting coach, one of the things he talks about, you're only as good as the strikes you swing at. Alex Verdugo took 67 changeups or breaking balls in the heart of the zone for strikes last year that were belt high or lower in the zone. he took them with no swing. Like 35% of his hits came on breaking or off-speed pitches that were down the middle of the plate, belt high, or bottom of the zone, middle of the plate, bottom of the zone. But he also took 67 called strikes on those pitches. So one of the things you can do, that Tim Hires may be talking to him about, is pulling the trigger more often at breaking pitches in the zone. Off-speed pitches in the zone. You see that pitch, you got to go. But there's a reason why he struggled hitting those pitches last year and struggled to pull the trigger on those pitches last year. And it's because not only has he been pretty bad at fastballs the last couple seasons, but teams started adjusting last year and not only throwing him more fastballs, but a lot more cutters. Think about it. If you have a hitter who the thing that he does well is hitting a breaking pitch that you leave in the heart of the zone for a strike, if that's the thing he does well, again, 35% of all of his hits came on a belt-high breaking or off-speed pitch. How is the right way to attack that hitter? You throw him a cutter. You start the cutter, right below the center of the zone. You aim it there. You let him see it, but it's not a breaking pitch. It's a fastball. And he doesn't have the bat speed to catch up to fastballs. 11th percentile bat speed last year of 68.4 miles an hour. He's never had great raw power. His hard hit rates and exit velocities are all well below average. They have been. Just about his entire career. Again, his career high in homers is 13. He's done it three different seasons. But how do you attack that guy who's looking for a breaking pitch in the heart of the zone? You throw a cutter that starts off looking like it's going to come in the heart of the zone as a breaking pitch, but it has fastball velocity and it moves in on you if you're a righty and it moves away from you if you're a lefty. That's how you attack him. And that's what teams did last year. The first part of the season, he was really hot. I say really hot. For recent Alex Verdugo, it was hot. Through the first week of May last year, he hit .275 with an .812 OPS and 5 home runs. Across the next 115 games, he had 8 homers. So he had 5 homers in the first month of the season. And then he had 8 across the entire rest of the season with a .221 average. And the big change was not only more fastballs, but more cutters. He was seeing about 50% fastballs in early May. It got as high as 65% later in the year. It just continually started tweaking up. He was getting 5% cutters in that same time frame in May. That went up to 15%. And he was just absolutely dreadful against them. He had a -9 run value against forcing fastballs in 759 fastballs seen. He had a -8 against cutters in 216 cutters seen. So per 100 pitches, he was dreadful against cutters. -3.9 run value per 100 pitches seen. Just terrible against cutters. And so what I think you have to do here, if you want Alex Verdugo to be more than just a defensive corner guy, because he's not playing center field for you anymore. The arm is really good. The defense is still good because despite his routes not being awesome, he still gets very good reads on balls. Those initial steps and things like that are all still very good. The reaction time is well above average. The burst, which is the reaction combined with your first couple steps, is still league average. Despite the routes not being great, he's still a positive defender in left or right field. If you want him to be more than just a defensive guy in a corner for you, you have to figure out Why can he not catch up to fastballs? And why is he struggling so specifically against cutters? You have to figure that out. And so that's going to be the challenge for Tim Hires, for Gwinnett's hitting staff. I'm sure it's a collaborative effort. They're all going to be involved. Tim Hires will talk to the kid before he's in Gwinnett. Like, it's not just you sign him to a major league deal and Tim never meets him until he gets called up. But you've got to figure that out. And if you can figure that out, if you can figure out why he's so bad now against cutters, you have an opportunity to turn Alex Verdugo back into a guy who can actually contribute. But even at worst case scenario, you have a guy who can give you solid defense in the corners if you deal with another significantly injured year like you had in 2024 and in 2021. In just a minute, let's look at some of the areas where Atlanta probably needs to continue adding depth. We'll do that next, right here on Braves Today. Final segment of Braves Today for Friday, March 21st. This is probably the last show before the team actually goes ahead and locks down the opening day roster. Again, they may not announce it until Tuesday or Wednesday, but they're leaving town on Sunday to fly to Arizona. We're going to know who's on the opening day roster by then. A note on that, by the way, they moved around some of the stuff. Obviously, Raisel Iglesias did not start yesterday's game. Hector Neris did. But throwing Chris Sale today with A.J. Smith-Shawver scheduled to follow him, and that could change by the time this show is up. It changed yesterday. But doing that means, if you're the type of person who likes to read into this, and I am that type of person, that means that A.J. Smith-Shawver will be lined up for the 5th game of the year. If you're the type of person who likes to do that little type of figuring out stuff, and I am, A.J. Smith-Shawver looks like he might be your 5th starter, okay? He would throw today, the 21st. 4 days would go by. The 26th would be his next lined up day. Obviously, that's an off day before the season opener. And you would assume he would throw a sim game, a longer bullpen, whatever it might be. 4 days would go by, and then he would start on the 31st versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. 5th starter A.J. Smith-Shawver is happening, people, okay? And also, Chris Sale going today means that he would be on one additional day of rest for opening day in San Diego. I honestly do wonder, we're all assuming Ian Anderson is the 6th man. Do you change things and you let him start game 4 against the Padres so that you don't have to throw him against the Dodgers? Is that something where it's in some order, Sale, Lopez, Schwellenbach for the first 3 games against the Padres? You throw Ian Anderson in game 4, and then against the Dodgers, you go with Smith-Shawver, Grant Holmes, and Chris Sale. I'd be curious to see how that works out. A little bit of fun stuff we're going to talk about when they announce the starters for that series later next week. Again, probably Tuesday or Wednesday is when they announce that. But I've been looking at these signings, the James McCann, the Craig Kimbrell, the Alex Verdugo. You've added 34 years of experience between just those 3 guys. They're all going to be in Gwinnett. They're all getting over $1 million when they come up to the majors. And we talked a little bit about some of the depth you have at different positions. There is one more addition to that. Apparently the Braves passed Luke Williams through waivers. Media, people watching, whatever, we don't find out when players are put on waivers unless we are told. And so we did not know that Luke Williams was on waivers. We did not know he passed through waivers until he was outrighted to Gwinnett on Thursday. I was told, because I had a question about this online, I was told he does not have enough service time to elect free agency. So since he passed through waivers, they can stick him down in Gwinnett. Now, they do still need to make one roster spot. Verdugo did get a 40-man spot. That was a major league deal. So if you break camp with 3 NRIs, in Baldwin, and Hector Neris, and in Inyel de los Santos, you only have 2 open spots as of now. Joe Jimenez going to the 60-day can give you the 3rd spot. You don't have to waive anybody right now. It is possible that they end up DFAing Williams. And if they do, he would then, when you're DFA'd, I believe you do have the ability to elect free agency, right? So he could go elect free agency, and then from there, you would make a third spot. So there's a couple different options to do that, to make a third spot, to add those 3 guys. But I was also looking through at what is your depth now in Gwinnett that you've done some of these moves, and where else do you need to add? And the thing that everybody is asking for is shortstop. We all want the Braves to add somebody at shortstop. And the hard part here, we talked about this earlier in the offseason, there's just not any good options at shortstop. I went and pulled all of the MLB free agents who are available right now. Joey Wendell, 35-year-old Joey Wendell, you briefly had him last year. He has played shortstop in his career. He's considered to be a second baseman or a third baseman right now versus a shortstop, so he's not a great fit. Other guys who have played shortstops, Aledmus Diaz is really your only option for free agents with shortstop experience. Whit Merrifield is still out there. I am not opposed to signing Whit Merrifield, maybe see if he'll start in Gwinnett and be an option to get called up. But he's never played shortstop in his professional career. Like in his major league career, he's never played short. He's always been second, third outfield guy. He's never played short. And I'm hesitant to think he can do it now. And the reason why I want somebody signed for shortstop is we've all seen what Orlando Arcia has done. He entered Thursday 2 for 28. He picked up a hit on Thursday, so he's now 3 for 31 in spring. And Brian Snitker was specifically asked yesterday about his thoughts on Orlando Arcia's struggles in the spring, because apparently he spent a lot of the offseason working on his offense, whatever that means. And here's the quote from Snit. I don't look at spring training. He's talking about stats. I don't care about spring training. We'll just start judging a week from today. I know I looked, he's been our starting shortstop, and we've won 193 games, I think, the last 2 years, so that's pretty good. Obviously, it bears pointing out Orlando Arcia is not the main reason Atlanta has won those games. But what I'm taking away from this is we've been pretty successful having Orlando Arcia at shortstop, despite having Orlando Arcia at shortstop. And so there's no need right now to rush to conclusions off of 31 at-bats in spring. We've been able to win a division title and won 190-something games the last 2 seasons with him supposedly being awful at shortstop. So let's not rush to replace him based off of 30 at-bats. And I get it, right? I understand that thought process. I still think Atlanta needs to do more to replace Orlando Arcia next season. I don't know what that's going to be. We've talked about this before. Other than Bo Bichette, there's not really any marquee free shortstops available. Heck, Orlando Arcia is like the second or third most experienced shortstop in free agency next year, depending on what Ha-Seong Kim does if he opts out of his deal with the Rays or not. Not a lot of options. I was asked, I have a thing coming out probably early next week about the Braves making some sort of trade with the Arizona Diamondbacks. I talked to a friend of mine who covers the Arizona Diamondbacks. He says you probably would not get Jordan Lawler. You might get Tommy Troy. I'm going to write that up on the newsletter, and if we have time on the pod, we might talk about that early next week. But in the meantime, what other positions do you want to see Atlanta bring in some depth? Do you want to see them sign a third baseman like Brian Anderson to stick in the minors? Do you want to see them sign another outfielder to stick in the minors? Do you want to see them bring in a starting pitcher? I think you could get a Lance Lynn, Anthony DeScalfini, Marco Gonzalez, a Julio Teheran maybe, something like that, and stick that guy in the minors. I wouldn't be opposed to Spencer Turnbull being somebody that they signed because he can do both relief and starting. Let me know what you think. I'm on Twitter at Crosby Baseball. Again, email contact@bravestoday.com. Lots of ways to get in touch with us. In the meantime, if you're listening on audio, do us a favor, leave us a 5-star review with some great quotes. That would be nice. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, maybe also leave us a 5-star review. That would be super awesome. Because again, we are trying to get to 4,000 by opening day, and we are so close to doing it. Until next time, this has been Braves Today.